Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to NBC's 10 Count. I am Steve Fall. On this edition, somebody call ya mama because I have Ariane Andrew with me. How are you today?
I am doing well. How are you feeling?
Oh, I am doing great because I have you as a guest, and I am jacked. I'm excited, and yes, I will make more mama jokes because I called her. But no. Let's talk about something that I think everybody wants to talk about. Is recently you were 6 years absent from the WWE, but then in January of this year, you got the call. You were in the Women's Royal Rumble. Now, how did that deal get made, and how did it feel to be back in the WWE universe?
I got the call from John Cone, which was someone who I was always super close with. John Cone was like a referee who moved up to like a higher power. Got the call, and I was like, he's like, nothing's real until it's real. This is something we're thinking about. We'll run it by Vince, and if Vince says okay, then welcome to the Royal Rumble. So I was like, okay. Whew, I'm excited to be back, but let me not get my hopes up too high because, I get, can I cuss here, by the way? Am I able to cuss?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I'm like, yeah, like shit happens. So it became real. And then, fast forward to having like that amazing moment. Definitely very scared. Didn't know how fans would perceive me, even remember me. It's been so long. But just like the love I felt coming back was crazy. I'm like, people are like, oh, did you hear the pop you got when you came back? And I'm like, no, because I was so focused on just making sure I'm like, don't trip, get to the ring, make sure you like execute and look good. So yeah, it was definitely an experience that I'll never forget.
Oh man, it was such an honor to see you back in the presence because also you got to rub shoulders once again with your former tag team partner of the Funkadactyls, Naomi. Now, what did that bring up inside you? Because there must have been emotions flying all around.
Gosh, that's how I started my journey. Without Naomi, I feel like there would have never been a Cameron. I mean, if it wasn't for her, I don't even know if I would have gotten on the road so quick as I did. I love her so much, and just having that moment with her was so amazing. I thought we were going to get a little bit further and make history. But, even though I feel like we haven't made history with getting the tag team titles, I still feel like there's room to come back and have that space with her, even though we didn't get to make history together. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Man, that would be outstanding to see the Funkadactyls back together in the WWE winning women's tag team titles. So what is your relationship now with Naomi? Still as it once was?
Always. Even though I'm older by a few weeks, I always say that like I'm the younger sister. Like we're sisters, like sisters from another mister. Still very close. God, there's so much I feel like I want to tell you, but
share it. Spill the beans.
Some stuff, is better left unsaid. But what I will say is like, we've always been super close. Even when she got the title with Sasha, I hit her up and she's like, sis, she's like, I know you're so happy for me. I'm like, even though she's like, I wanted to share this space with you. I know that you're happy. I'm happy. And, the vibes are all good. So yeah, I always still talk to her, always still like cheering her on. I'm like, you're my boo. So no matter what happens, I'm always there to support her because she deserves it all. She's, she's so talented. She has a lot to offer. So I'm excited to see what's in store for them too.
Now, when you guys were together as the Funkadactyls and then you were broken up, now, was that a decision between you and Naomi, or was that WWE saying, all right, we've run your course? Like, did you feel like together you ran your course, or someone else decided this is the end for you?
I honestly felt like as the Funkadactyls with the dance, we ran our course. Yes. But as far as like a team, I feel like we had unfinished business. I kind of felt like the breakup came very early. And then when it came, it was so abrupt. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I was like, if we're going to, end the course, that's really fine because, you need like new storylines, you need things to be fresh.
Of course.
But as far as like having the feud, I feel like we were definitely cut way too short. And that had a lot to do with like, her eye and having to get the just getting the surgery. And, kind of when you step away, it's just like anything in the industry. If you're gone for a week, it's like ancient. So it's like, well, if you leave, and I get it was health, like you got to take care of your health, but they weren't going to like re-pick up the storyline. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, we weren't, a big enough deal for them to re-pick it back up.
It's unfortunate. Now, you mentioned Naomi and Sasha Banks winning the women's tag team titles at WrestleMania 38. So I'm assuming you watched. So we also had Bianca Belair become the Raw Women's Champion. And what I think that's probably one of the greatest, not just women's matches, greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. So you have Sasha Banks, you had Naomi, you have Bianca Belair. Three very powerful women being represented across the nation, across the world. Like, how does that make you feel as a role model for children as well, to see other people just like you suddenly as champion?
So yeah, I mean, if we want to just put it in full context, to see a Black woman like myself and see other three Black women who are in that space, I think it's super empowering. It just goes to show that, you know, we've definitely come a far way, and to have such powerful women to represent and to say, I think it's amazing. Young girls can now be like, hey, I can do that as well. So to have representation in a place like a wrestling world where there's never been that, I feel like it's now, but never. It's always, I always say better late than never. So to have that representation now, it's powerful, because not only is it a positive representation of what's happening, but they're dope ass women. I mean, like, these women like can kick ass, great look, just everything that they have. So I'm excited to see what happens, and just so happy to see them shining, as it's well deserved and been deserved for a very long time.
I know. I think a lot of fans are just not now, but obviously a couple of years, it's been the making of allowing more representation to be there on all platforms, from TV to movies to music to everything. Really, I think it's finally, I don't know, universally accepted. And I think that's really cool and really awesome as well. So, you know, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that one. Yeah. But let's go back though. January 9th, 2012, you make your WWE debut on TV with Naomi alongside Brodus Clay. And for weeks, Brodus Clay was being hyped as like this powerhouse, scary monster type gimmick. And then he shows up, he's dancing, you're dancing. Was that always your design plan for you personally when you got brought up? Did you expect to suddenly get this dropped in your lap?
That's a really good question that no one's ever asked. So thank you for asking that. And no, when I decided to become, you know, a wrestler and get into WWE, my plan was always to wrestle. Never dance, never be a cheerleader, I guess you can, you know, quote unquote say. But, you know, I think life just kind of happens how it does. You know, fortunately for me, I would say I feel grateful. I was in, at the time now, in NXT FCW, trying to, you know, be the best I could be to, you know, get on the big leagues and be a part of WWE to wrestle. And this just happened, to dance. Never was a dancer, didn't even know what I was doing, and was like, oh my gosh, like, just kind of thrown to the wolves. But I was like, you know, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, I kind of feel like. And I was given an opportunity, and I feel like if you get an opportunity that's, you know, of this caliber, what I'm gonna say, oh no, sorry, I want to be a wrestler. Sorry about the day. You know, you take the opportunity and try to make it the best that you can, and then see where it goes. So I feel very fortunate. I mean, it wasn't my destination of where I thought I was gonna go, but it's how it happened. Learned how to dance, and people always still tell me now, they're like, I would have never known that you can dance. I'm like, yeah, you either sink or swim, and I was gonna swim no matter what.
Yeah, you surprised me when you're like, I didn't know I didn't know how to dance. Excuse me?
So confused. I was like, when I got called up on the road, actually, so I don't think people know this. Initially, I was gonna take the place of Brandy. That was like the whole thought process, to become like an announcer, and I was like, don't know how to do that either. Then the whole thing with, I was like, just kind of like not even knowing what was gonna happen when I got called up on the road, and it was like, oh, let's see how you announce, and I'm like, okay. But then Brodus, and it was Naomi who pushed for me. She was like, we had chemistry in FCW. I would kind of love her to be like my partner. So I give her a lot of credit. It's because of her who kind of gave me that big moment. So even though I was like, girl, I don't know how to dance, she's like, but I think we have chemistry. I can like, you got this. And I was like, okay, I got this.
Yeah, sometimes confidence will get you places, even the places you didn't think you'd go. Dancing with a man who's half dinosaur, half man, who also loves to call his mama. But hey, you can watch all that on Peacock. So if you are interested in seeing the rise of Brodus Clay and the Funkadactyls, it is all there on Peacock. The one thing I feel still terrible about for you is WrestleMania 29. It's supposed to be you, Naomi, Brodus Clay, and Matt Bloom Tensai taking on Cody Rhodes, very topical, Damian Sandow, and the Bella Twins. That was a match that actually had been built up on TV with a storyline. You get to Mania, it's cut. It's cut for time, though you did have your match the next night on Raw, but let's all be honest, that's not the same thing. So what did it feel like finding out? I'm assuming, I don't even know how many minutes, maybe an hour. When did you find out your match was cut?
You know, you're bringing all the great questions, and I love it because I feel like these are questions people have never really like dived super deep into, and it was right before we were about to go out. Yeah, no, so we found out our match got cut right at Gorilla. CM Punk's match, I went over, he decided, you know, like, and I get it, like you're in the moment, they were having, you know, a great match, and Vince just is like, you just hear Vince say, we got to cut the next match. And it was and on top of that, at the time, we were the only women's match, even though it was a mixed tag team match. So it hurt. It didn't hurt me as bad as I never, Brodus is such a big guy, and I hope he doesn't get mad for me for saying this, to see him just kind of like have a moment, walk away and have tears. You know, it was something that we were all looking forward to. Like you said, we built up the mat, you know, with something built up, the twins just came back. We were working with them. It was like our first real moment, kind of having, outside of being just Funkadactyls and just dancers and just cheerleaders, to actually wrestle. So to have that get cut, it was devastating, especially because we were the only women's match that was going to be representing for women, even though it was a mixed tag match, you know, at that time. So it definitely did hurt. It was, yeah, I mean, especially with gear, you know, the gear wasn't what we wanted to be. That was last minute. But just to be like at Gorilla about to walk out and be like, no, it's not going to happen. I mean, that's like the most devastating thing you can have, of literally about to walk out of Gorilla and be at the curtain and say, it's not happening.
It's sort of the closest thing I can think of in my brain is being at the altar and about to get married. And then just as you're about to walk out, suddenly, oh, no, this isn't happening. Like,
exactly.
What do you mean it's not happening?
It's not yet. That was literally what it was. So, I almost feel like I'm gonna get emotional talking about it, but you know, life teaches you lessons, I feel like, and it makes you stronger. And I feel like anything I can walk away from WWE is just knowing I've had the most life lessons.
So I see behind you, you have your Total Divas poster. Now, recently, of course, when you came back at the Royal Rumble in January, there were members of the original Total Divas cast, and obviously all the seasons. So let me ask you a question about reality TV. How much of that show was scripted?
You know, I don't want to reveal that because, you know, what I want to say is that, doing reality TV, it's entertainment. And for some people, they want to keep like the realness alive. And for other people, they want to know what's going on behind the scenes. And I don't want to reveal like, you know, how much was scripted and how much was just, you know, flying by the hair or flying by the seat. And just because for some people, I feel like I don't want to kill what they feel is real.
Okay.
So
yeah, no,
like that, you know, because, you know, I don't want to kill what's reality for some people.
Of course, you know, I have a small daughter and a son. I don't tell them that certain things aren't real. Oh yes, of course, Elsa on Frozen is real. You know, of course.
Christmas, you know, like Santa Claus is real.
Sorry,
so,
I'm sorry. What?
Santa Claus.
You just shared. What's going on? So talk about other reality TV shows that you're on. You're on Tough Enough. And obviously, this is a moment that people probably maybe still bring up to you. I'm not sure. But Stone Cold Steve Austin was the host, and he asked you what your favorite match was. And you said Melina versus Alicia Fox. Now, I just asked you about Total Divas. You wouldn't reveal what was real, if it wasn't real, you know, so on and so forth. That moment, him sort of being angry at you for your choice of match, was that real?
That was real.
That was real.
And you know what I love about Steve and I think people who, you know, are avid like wrestling fans and keep up, Steve and I are actually really like cool friends. And after that moment, you know, he even said like it was a moment that kind of like caught him off guard. But he was like, still to this day, he always even told me after the show, he's like, you're a star and you'll end up in WWE. But that was a real moment. And I think it's just because, you know, when you're in a world and I think about just like conditioning, like you think about all the great matches that there's been like WWE. He was just kind of like, it threw him off too. It was just like, wait, what? But at the time, I mean, I'm very honest. I wasn't an avid wrestling fan. I didn't grow up watching wrestling. And it's something I mean, most women, I mean, unless you're like a natty who's like, this is like die hard, you know, at that time in that era, a lot of girls didn't watch wrestling. And there was just something that resonated with me because at the time, Alicia was like the only representation of someone who looked like me. And I was just like, that was my match. Of course, I mean, I could see other matches that were like amazing in history, but at that time, that's what resonated with me. And I was like, yeah, that's my favorite match. Shit, can I have this moment for me at this moment? This is what resonates with me. And I don't know why fans till this day thought that was just so crazy. Because I'm just like, well, maybe if you grew up in my shoes, you know where I came from, you know my story, you would understand a little bit more of like, I can name or I can give you what I think you want to hear, but why can't I say what resonates with me at the moment?
I agree. I think a lot of people, even it doesn't matter with wrestling, with anything, people's opinions are like, your opinion's wrong. Well, how is my opinion wrong? It's my opinion. If it was a fact,
exactly.
Then sure, you know, 2 + 2 is 4. That's a fact. But your choice of match, it shouldn't be judged. Obviously, it's going to be because of Stone Cold Steve Austin giving you a reaction to it versus him going, okay, good choice.
Or, I mean, and I think it was, I don't fault him for how he felt, you know. I think, again, like things, there's timing. And at that time, he probably was just like, he didn't understand. Mm-hmm. But at the same, because I get it. If you can think about all the matches in WWE or even wrestling history, like, how would that be your favorite? But at the time, I was someone new. I hadn't been so like, you know, he's someone who has been in the business for so long. Right. So you think about like at the time, like I'm someone who's new into this world. And what I'm resonate at this moment, this is what I'm feeling. So
I think people always give you crap for it, and I think it's kind of unfair because it's your opinion, and people can't really be mad at your opinion. It's your opinion.
Well, I'm a trouble starter. I'm always someone who's always causing ruckus. So nothing new. Been doing it since I was a kid. So I'm just somehow always rubbing people the wrong way or saying things that are inappropriate, but that's just kind of me. So I embrace it.
Well, I accept it. Now let's talk about some more new things. Let's talk about, instead of moving on top of the past, let's talk about the present. You have so many side projects. When I was doing research on you, it's insane. Fitness apps, music career, movies, modeling, a podcast, sipping tea. When are you sleeping? When do you have time for all these things?
What is sleep? I mean,
well, I do have a energy drink here, so except for the working man.
I had some coffee this morning. I woke up really tired. No, but I'm like, I guess I'll sleep when I die. How I look at life is, my biggest thing I always say is I never want to dream to live at the cemetery. So regardless if I fail at it, I'm successful at it. If it's something that I love and I love doing, why not try it? Yeah. You only get one life. We get one. So why not experience the things that I want to do? I've had some stuff that has not succeeded, but I love my fitness app. I'm someone who is diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and ADHD. And I think it was important for me to create something that's helped me. Working out is something that helped me. I kind of realized all this stuff after WWE of, let me take a step back. Like I'm moving so fast, but I'm living my life, but how do I help other people? Mm-hmm. So for me, it was creating an app that not only got people in physical shape, because everyone can look bomb, but it's about how do you feel? Like how can I help you, have a strong mindset? So doing that, sipping the tea with Matt, that's been great because you get to meet so many great people, hear their story. Because what I realized is like social media is a platform where you get to see a highlight reel. But what it's great when people get to peel back, like having interviews like this, like you get to know me, you get to see my vibe instead of just seeing photos or a character that I played. You know, you get to know people, you know, deeper. I mean, so I just love all the great things that I've just been doing as of lately, even though wrestling will always still be my baby.
Awesome. That's good to hear, because, you know, as you know, life is sometimes can be cut short like that. So getting in everything you can while you're here is quite an accomplishment. So I tip my hat if I was wearing one to you, my lady. But also, what are your goals for this year? Because you already got so much going on. What else do you want to do?
So my big goal, it's amazing, which is funny. My business partner, he's like talking to my makeup artist in there. My big goal this year is to help more, to do more, especially. So I came out, you know, like you said, I did music. I'm doing music. And I came up with a song called Queen. And it's a very like, you know, upbeat, a little bit abrasive song, but it was about a message. And it's kind of like my body, my choice, my voice. And what we're trying to do with that, it's actually partnered with IME. And just kind of like bringing a message of just like embracing who you are and just kind of loving the skin you're in. I think a lot of times you get so caught up with like social media and having to be a certain way or do this or do that or look like the next. I feel like everyone looks like Kim K. It's almost like people were looking like, hey, I love the Kim K special. And that's great if that's what truly resonates with you. So what I'm trying to do this year is really push forth that message of saying, do you, like, be okay. Like, perfect example is I'm wearing my natural hair right now. And I was kind of like, oh, I want to have time to do my wig and be like, I have to like look this way. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just do this interview just embracing who I am? Like, get my makeup done because that makes me feel good, but just embracing the skin that I'm in. Why is that not okay? Why can't I do that? Why do I feel like I have to put my wig on or have this persona, make sure I look this certain way? And so you're my first interview where I'm just kind of embracing me. Like, makeup makes me feel good, but why can't I wear my real hair? What's wrong with that? So that's my goal this year, is just to encourage not just women, but people in general, just to embrace who they are. Because no one can do you like you, and you are your own superpower, period.
Well, look at that. That's a good way to end this interview as well. The real version of yourself here. I am honored. It is so good to have you here. Again, thank you so much for being here and sharing so much. There's so much history around you. And that's what's funny. I think people are going to be like, oh, some people might go, oh, you're interviewing the Funkadactyls, you know, one of the no, it's like no. There is so much to just you now in the past in the WWE. So I'm just very happy that we agreed to sit here and talk about, you know, the real you, your true feelings, how you felt on WrestleMania 29 when your match got canceled, all that good stuff. So I just want to say thank you again for being here on NBC's 10 Count. It was an honor, a privilege, a pleasure. And like I said before, I would tip my hat to you, but I don't have one on.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks again for being here. And folks, remember, tune in next time for this episode, because we have so many more coming up, so many things promoting Peacock, promoting you on this show as well. So thanks again for being here. We'll see you next time for another edition of NBC's 10 Count. Bye.